I'd like to welcome everybody today to a Horizon 2 TEO video tutorial series. Today we're going to look at basic navigation of both products and compare Horizon TEO, and as well as look at alerts and how alerts have migrated from the structure in TEO or in Horizon 2 TEO. We'll be looking at Horizon 195 and TEO 2.1. So first here, we're going to compare the configuration areas. So, and as we saw in a previous video, we've done the configuration of a monitored system, so we're not going to go back through that, but we do here have the monitored system list. You would find that, and as you will find most configuration, in the definitions tab of TEO. In this case, we look in the targets area, and here we see that we've got SAP systems. Here we've got an ABAP connection to go with that system. We've got Java connections as well as database connections. Here again with TEO, you do get a more robust set of target features: Windows servers, SSH connections, which you can you can fire off Unix commands at. ABAP connections, Java connections, database connections, SQL, Oracle, DB2, etc. And we are adding more and greater targets on a per patch basis. The next part you'd see in the configuration would be parameters. Here you see things like your dialog response time, 5,000. You can set those different values. In TEO, we have that same concept, but we call it a global variable. And let's do this. Let's unfilter. And you can see that let's dialog response time. There you go. Average dialog response time is still there. We have a couple different kinds of variables. We have Boolean, encrypted string, ID variable, which is domain/username, numeric variables, string variables, and table variables. And table variables can compare or can contain any certain amount of the above variables. Up here you have a nice filter by name description automation pack. If you filter anything by name ever, you can just type in a name or the starting of a string, and you can filter basically everything out that does not have that string in the display name, which is a nice feature for quick filtering. And next we have notifications. Notifications, you had your SMTP publisher that you would send out email notifications when you got incidences and whatnot. In TEO, we have not put that in. That is due to come out in 2.2. However, we have a workaround in the meantime especially for the SAP customers to take use of that workaround. You have multiple different global variables to assign. There's a default approval, default assignment, which is a singular Active Directory object. The other way to go about it is to do incident assignment here based on category specific criteria, and then also notification based on incident properties. This is basically just a table which, if you come in here, allows you to put in certain things based on assignment values. But here's an incident ID of 1 of 10,050. Something you could put something about from the string description. So you gives you more flexibility. However, it can be a little more tedious to upkeep. But we do plan to input the email rules type of incident rules come in 2.2, which is tentatively due out for April of 2011. This has had to be used in the meantime. And also, on top of that, you would have to go into your processes area and an automation pack and look at core SAP automation. You'd have to make sure that the assign SAP incidents and that the notification based on assignment or based on incident properties is enabled. Make sure these processes are enabled and not disabled. Also, you would want to make sure to receive an email that the default incident notification is enabled. For one, I would suggest just incident over alert, because you get multiple alerts per an incident. So I would suggest that, and probably approval requests probably is the default two ones that need to be enabled. And basically what they do is they take an Active Directory object and convert that to an email, to resolve it to an email address. The other last component here is the database, where you would, if you come in here, you could import your reports, etc. And in TEO we have the same idea, but it's under the Administration tab, and then under Database Settings we have two databases: the Process database and the Reporting database. The Process database you really can't do a whole lot with. You just right-click and you can configure the grooming, how often the data is removed from the database, and then in the report you can do an import reports like you used to be able to, and it's the same idea that you give it connection information, point it to your report server URL string, and then point it to the, and then basically go through and import the reports. And in the properties, you can configure the connection string as well as configure its grooming based on months. One quick side thing that you can do with the database is if you look in the install, let's go to the install directory of TEO, and that's normally under program files and Cisco and TEO. And then if you look at these EXEs, the set of EXEs that come with a product, this title.automation.server.database user configuration utility, this allows you to reconfigure the password for the process database in case you have an issue with the process database. And let's say you have a username that has to cycle password every 90 days. While we don't recommend that, we recommend you use a username password combination that does not have to be cycled. If you needed to do it that way, then you would need to use that utility to change the process database name so you could still use the product. Moving on to the kind of general maneuvering of workflows in Horizon, you have this folder, this one-to-one type relationship folder, and then a workflow. And if you go look at a workflow, you can right-click on a node and click the properties and see this nice tab structure right here. In TEO, it is similar, but it is expanded. Again, we go to definitions and we have processes. And if we look at just a general one, let's look at instant analysis. And we look at maybe the ABAP short dump here. We can right-click on any of these and hit Edit, or do Alt-Enter for Edit. Now, of course, you cannot edit the included processes with the content we deliver. There are a few things you can edit, like the schedule and such like that, but for the most part, you would have to make a copy if you want to edit it any more than that. You'll see that we have the process painter here in the middle. We have the tab structure again over here to the side with all your different options and configuration. If you click in the white space, you get the processes properties. If you can click an activity, you get its particular properties. Over here, you have the toolbox again with that nice name filter. So if I want to look for something with the word create in it, I could type create, and I get all the activities that have create in it. So I could drop create alert right here if I wanted to, and sure enough, it appears there. Everything runs from the screen arrow, down arrow, to the red power looking button. So a green go to a red stop. And here we have this red line around the activity. Basically tells us that we have some configuration to do. Also on this side, you've got the processes tab, which allows you to put any already used process in as a property. So you could do a lot of child-parent type relationships, or a driver with a modular type layout. It's also nice for creating processes as small functions and reusing them over and over again. And then lastly, you have logic, where we have sequencing. We have if-thens, so conditionals, conditional branches, while loops, and for each loops. For each loops, pretty much for tables, and while loops more for looping type other kinds of loops. Also, while I did that, we also have the ability here in the process to just click the save button, and this saves the process. However, if you're somewhere else, like if you're in a target, or if you're in a runtime user, which is basically the user for a target, just by clicking OK and configuring it, you save it. There is no need to do a commit configuration like up here in Horizon. You have to do the commit configuration button up here. We really don't have that anymore in TEO. So as far as just getting around, it's a little different, but not too bad. You'll find in the administration tab, you also find the adapters section, which will contain all the adapters you have access to. A real nice function is to right-click on any adapter and go to Properties, and then look at Provides, and it gives you a whole list of what events, activities, targets that come out of this adapter. So